Welcome back to the Zero Weakness podcast, where we talk about how to be a better lifter, how to be a better coach, and everything in between. Make sure you subscribe and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the Zero Weakness podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Establishment Coffee. Go to establishmentcoffee.com.au, use the code 025 and get 25% off your order and free shipping. We are back with another episode with the fam. How are we all doing today?
Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
How's
What episode are we up to, CJ?
48?
Nice.
48, I think. Yes,
Wow.
48. How have we been? How's training been? What are we up to in our training?
Training's fun. I'm in week 2 of a volume block. Getting used to all the reps.
Nice.
Holding my brace on for a long time. Yeah, it's hard, but it's fun. It's good. Gonna get big.
You can talk about your chin-ups?
Oh yeah, I did. I got 7 chin-ups this morning. I've only ever been able to do 5 my whole life. And today I got 7.
Fuck,
Just throw it in randomly in the middle of my leg workout, but yeah.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
My training's going good. I am 3 weeks out from the half marathon.
Exciting.
Damn.
Yeah, so training's ramping up.
That's come quick.
Yeah, it's fun.
Man.
I had my biggest week last week. It was like 57 Ks of running.
Yep.
20K run on Saturday, which was cool. I got a speed session today and then another long run on Saturday. And I'm still lifting weights 3 times a week. But no, everything's good. One thing I'm loving about running is like playing around with running nutrition. Like you got to take like gels and stuff while you're running, like keep your sodium levels up, and it's pretty fun.
What did you run the 20 in?
So Saturdays it's a long, easy run. It's just all about, trying to stay on your legs for a long amount of time.
Yep.
So I was just doing like 6 minute 13 per K.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool. There's a big group of us that go together.
And then what are you aiming for the half?
I'd love to go anywhere between like 5 minutes to 5 minutes 30 per K.
That's quite a bit faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so it's good.
What does that add up to total?
I just want to go sub 2 hours.
Okay.
Is that like an average time? 2 hours?
I don't know. I've done sub 2 before, like in a 27K run. So I did sub 2 then, but I've never actually done a half marathon.
Yep.
So it'll be cool.
How long's a half marathon?
21Ks.
21.
Yeah.
So surely if you've done sub 2 for 27, you must be close even with less training.
Yeah. I don't know. But it's just kind of building because I want to do the Melbourne Marathon at the end of the year. So
Is that a full marathon?
Yeah, I'll do the full one then.
Nice.
Damn.
Nice.
And is there like a deload? Like you 3 weeks out? Do you like taper off?
It's literally the same as powerlifting programming.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm assuming all peaking sports are very similar to that. If you're peaking for, if you're peaking for discus, shot put, hammer throw, high jump, long jump, it's all programming will be relatively similar. Obviously there's there's the little intricacies are way different. Like you're not going to do for running, I'm not going to do accessory work in terms of, flies and things like that. But, I'll do like some strides or something like that. Like my mate, John Brooks, my housemate, and my best mate, he like gives me my speed sessions and tells me what to do. And I just do that. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's all based on the same principles. Like sports science has evolved and then just, built a series of principles that we take specific sports and then apply to. CJ, what about you? How's your training?
Same. I'm just in a volume block, so pumping out heaps of reps, a lot of accessories. It's good fun. Enjoying it. Big. Hopefully brewing some big numbers in the future.
Yes. So I found out that the IPL Worlds that I was going to compete in doesn't actually offer equipped. So that's throwing a spanner in the works. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll still switch to equipped and do an equipped meet, but it gives me more time, and I don't know if I'll do something this year or maybe early next year. Also depends when Pro Raw is next year and if I do that. So I'm just going to keep training as always and then pick something once I decide what I want to do and go from there.
Cool.
Is there equipped in Pro Raw?
No. Hence the Raw.
Pro Raw.
Well, how are you going to
Pro equipped
compete?
No, because I'll do Pro Raw.
Oh, okay.
I still need to do one good Raw competition instead of bombing and tearing something every time.
Wait, well, what do you want to do? What's your goal before you end your Raw career?
I just want to do 900. And I've been strong enough to do it a bunch of times. It's just hasn't eventuated. So
I feel like you've been strong enough to do 900 as long as I've known you.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been strong enough to do it a bunch of times. It just hasn't happened for whatever reason.
True. Fuck, well, that's exciting. Well, hopefully you fucking, you can put everything together and do that.
Yeah, I don't know. The body's kind of going backwards with the hips anyway, so I just have to hold on. But equip training helps with it, so it might be a hybrid prep where I do a lot more equip stuff and then just do raw at the end and try and hold on for dear life, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Play by ear.
sweet. That's sick.
Yeah.
We're on that 900 total.
Yes, sir.
So this week, what's your grievance?
My grievance is me. I've decided for this 5 weeks that I'm going to crash diet, and I'm just hungry and grumpy all the time and tired. So just like I wake up angry at something every morning, and then I look at the mirror and I'm like, I've found the reason.
That one.
Yeah.
Fuck, what'd you drop your calories from?
I was on like maybe 3,600, 700,
Mm.
and I'm just doing five weeks at 2,500.
Oh.
It's a bit of a nasty contrast. I'm fine with hunger. I can still perform and think. It's just everything's a little bit of a lull.
Yeah. Do you find you have to learn to enjoy being hungry during that dieting process?
I think anyone enjoys being hungry, James.
Learn to enjoy.
No, I don't. I complain about being hungry, but it doesn't actually bother me. Like it won't.
Yeah.
It won't. Drive me to do anything dumb, and it doesn't prevent me from training or thinking. I just feel tired all the time. That's all.
Have you given in to the cravings yet?
Nah.
Nah. Let's go.
It's been a very loose diet. Like I'm not being strict like I was when I lost all that weight last year.
Yeah.
So I'm still. I'm fasting and eating big quantities on the weekend, completely untracked, and maybe go over, maybe not. But even if I go over, it'll still be under what maintenance is. So
Sweet.
On that shred life.
on the shred life, on the
Shred
hungry
for
life.
stereo.
3 more weeks.
Doing your summer bod now. All right, so today we have a few topics to talk about. Be interesting to get your guys' take on this. We're talking about sleeves and wraps. So the differences for competitors who compete either sleeved or wrap. I guess the differences in their training. Yeah.
Sweet.
Swing that over you guys. You guys doing both?
That question was from Clay Scott, legend.
Oh,
He's the man.
the cowboy.
Country boy Clay.
He's the
Where's he
man.
from?
I don't know.
Oh.
Like maybe. Oh, I don't want to say because I'll mess it up. But I think like Emerald Way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a few hours out of Mackay.
Yeah.
He's got the sickest garage gym setup as well.
Yeah, mad garage gym setup. He's just an all round good guy. So
Yeah, he's a legend.
thanks for asking, Clay. What do you guys think? I mean, Bridget, you haven't been coaching too long and you haven't coached many people in wraps versus sleeves to notice the nuance. But in your own personal experience, do you feel like your squat is different between squats and sleeves? Do you think about anything different, or does it just feel kind of different because of the things on your legs?
It is extremely different squatting between wraps and sleeves. I personally love squatting in wraps. It adds about 20 kilos to my squat like that. I think I could probably top 100 maybe squatting in sleeves, and then I can do 120 like easy in wraps. But I really have to think about driving my knees forward more, especially if the wrap's really tight and depending on which type of wrap is being used as well. I started off with the Oz Strength wraps, and they were like, there was a lot more give with those, and then switched to the Lilley bridges, which are a lot tougher. And I really had to get used to that, but I just love the feeling of it. Yeah, I would always prefer to max out in wraps. Yeah.
Nice.
Is that just because it's heavier?
No, I just love the feeling. I absolutely love the feeling.
Okay, well, there's probably not many people who share your thoughts.
Yeah.
James, what about you? What would you say? Do you think it's different between squats and sleeves and wraps?
Yeah. Like obviously, so from personal experience, when I squat in sleeves, I probably don't control the tempo as hard. I haven't squatted in wraps in probably like 10 weeks now, but when I'm squatting in wraps, my squat's a lot slower, a lot more controlled. I've got to focus a little bit harder. And like you, Thomas, I self-wrap my knees. So, you take a lot of energy doing that. You put the wraps on, your knees are being strangled. Then you got to put your wrist wraps on, your belt on. Yeah, so wraps are obviously a lot more fun once you get the hang of. Once you're exposed to them a few times, you're like, sweet, I enjoy these. And yeah, like Bridget said, once you figure out how to use the wraps, you really have to drive your knees into them. Like sometimes you can get them a little bit too tight. You see people sitting back and just kind of pancaking themselves in the wraps. I've seen it multiple times. Yeah, so like, but once you get a really good consistent rep, you really just learn to love them.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of coaching them, what I've found with a lot of my lifters that I coach, they get a lot of enjoyment when they put reps on and you expose them to, it's a new skill essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And watching them like kind of freak out and get all happy because they've just squatted something that was really hard in sleeves and they've made it look really easy in reps. So it's kind of cool way to get your clients psyched up about lifting. I'm pretty sure, did I get you in reps for the first time? Yeah, and you loved it.
It was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Exactly a year ago.
Yeah. And so it's fun. You get stronger.
Yeah, so I think you guys hit the nail on the head in terms of highlighting the fact that it's a slight difference in skill in terms of adjusting to the piece of equipment, but the squat itself, the technique doesn't change whatsoever. And so when it comes to, Clay asked, is there a difference in accessory training? Absolutely not, because the actual technique that we're trying to, showcase in the squat doesn't change between sleeves and wraps at all. There's a skill adjustment period. If you have the wraps really tight, your knees resist going forward. And so it can make it look and feel a little bit different, but that's just skill. It doesn't actually change the mechanics of how the squat work. And so your training should be exactly the same between the two, in terms of accessory work, in terms of weakness focus, all that sort of stuff. Where it does become interesting with wraps fall into, I would split accessories as in like lifting equipment in two categories, supportive and assistive equipment. Supportive equipment is like a belt or a wrist wrap where it supports a joint or supports an action but doesn't actually directly help you lift more weight. Whereas knee wraps are assistive. Their number one job, their only job is to make you lift more weight. And they operate on the principle of elasticity. They just stretch and return to their original shape. And so the cool thing with knee wraps then is that when it comes to implementing them into training, it's not just wraps or no wraps. You can use different types of wraps and you can scale how tight they are, how aggressively you put them on, which will change the amount of assistance that they give. And so how you then structure that in terms of building it into your training is going to change person to person depending on their experience level. So someone who's been lifting in knee wraps or competing in knee wraps for 10 years doesn't need much time to adjust to knee wraps going on and doesn't need much time to adjust to really tight knee wraps. So they can spend less time in knee wraps and still get a big effect out of them. Whereas someone who's a bit newer to it, like Bridget last year, she would have had a longer period of time to adjust before she can really exhibit her ability to showcase that technique with the knee wraps. And so they're a cool tool. They're a cool tool to play around with. And so there's no defined perfect answer as to when you add them in or when not. But if I was to give a general guideline, let's say we're talking about competition or peaking or testing or whatever, I'd say at least 3 blocks before that point you want to add knee wraps in. Like you want 1 block to adjust to the skill of it, and then you want 1 block to do some real work, some strength work, and then 1 block to peak.
Yeah, I was about to say 8 to 12 weeks, around that range. Like, so I've given people who've got they've had lots of exposure to knee wraps. They already know how to use them. They're confident in them. It's like, cool, we're only going to start using them 12 weeks out, just like Thomas said, and that's essentially 3 blocks ish.
Yeah. And so where it does become challenging is that when it comes to picking intensity, regardless of whether you use RPE or a fixed number, when it comes to picking intensity, the disparity between wraps or no wraps is hard to measure. Like Bridget mentioned, I get 20 kilos out of it. The reality is you don't get 20 kilos out of it. You get an amount out of it dependent on how tight the wrap is and how long you've spent in them. And so there's no defined formula as like everybody gets 10% or everybody gets 5%. People get varying amounts out of their knee wraps. And so when it comes...
Is tighter always better? Not necessarily.
No, definitely not.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, no. So that's the next question we'll get to in a sec. But yeah, like it does definitely come down to working out the disparity between an individual's squat with and without wraps to figure out numbers from there. And I'll finish on that point by saying if you compete in knee wraps, a lot of your training should be done without them. Because the thing with assistive equipment is that if you use a piece of equipment to put more weight on the bar, effectively you're working supramaximal. And if you're working supramaximal, it does become quite hard to address issues within that movement. And so like you find that people who spend too much time in knee wraps tend to run into back issues, shoulder issues, arm issues, because they're constantly lifting more weight than their body can actually lift without that piece of equipment. Not only that, is like when you finish a competition and go into volume work, you guys ever tried to do like 6 sets of 8 in knee wraps? It's just not a good time. It's just like not only unnecessary, but kind of like unsustainable.
And if you're spending lots of time in knee wraps and you're lifting maximally, obviously you're just accumulating lots of fatigue.
Exactly.
Which is going to, be a detriment for your next blocks where you're trying to build strength.
For sure. So what was that? The next part of that question? About Dylan Finlay asked about different wrapping, different wraps, like wrap brands and different techniques and styles. Do you guys have any thoughts or opinions on this? Like Bridget, you mentioned you went from a softer wrap to a more aggressive wrap. What was your experience in changing types?
Like James was saying before, I found switching from the Oz Strength wraps, which were the stretchier ones, to Lilley bridges, I had to really slow the tempo down with the Lilley bridges and really focus a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just had to, you just really had to dial in your technique and,
Yeah.
because it's, it's really constricting. So it feels like you can't really move around too much. So you got to, it just takes a lot more focus and, you just got to, like I said, dial in your technique.
Yeah, 100%. If you're new to knee wraps, a softer wrap, a stretchier wrap is always better. A softer and stretchier wrap also has a broader spectrum for which you can use it. Like you can have it very loose or you can have it very tight, whereas a stiffer wrap, you kind of have to have it up towards the tighter end for it to be effective. You can't wrap a stiff wrap really loose. It just doesn't work. It doesn't really feel like it's doing anything. But ultimately, it just comes down to personal preference. Like whatever wraps you get the most out of and feel the best squatting in and can perform the best in, that's the best wrap selection for you, for sure. When it comes to actual technique of wrapping knees, there's all this bullshit about like, does it matter for your squatting style? Does it matter if you're going, dive bombing it or, moving down fast, or is it better for stopping power for equipped lifters? All this sort of stuff. It's all bro science. Like knee wraps literally work on one principle, which is elasticity. You stretch it, it goes back to where it was meant to be. So the best wrapping style is the one that is consistent and even. So evenly spread across the knee, a little bit below, a little bit above, and consistent tension all the way along. That's going to feel 10 times better than a really just overly tight wrap that's inconsistent. That's really all it comes down to when it comes to wrapping technique or style. And how pretty it looks on the knee. So I changed my style. We were talking about it before. I changed the way I wrap because the new way I wrap looks a little bit better. I like it.
Yeah, because I wrap the exact same way Thomas. Everyone here wraps the same way. Like Thomas has taught me, then I've taught you. Like, did I teach you, CJ? Yep. So it's kind of just the way we do it here at Zero. Pretty much at every Zero gym. Mm-hmm. So Thomas, like Thomas said, it looks really pretty, but the way we've all been taught to wrap, we've made it really consistent. Yeah. Because there's nothing worse than a fucking strangulating knee wrap that's all just bunched up somewhere. Like you don't get anything out of that. It just messes with your head. It's not if you've had a really bad knee wrap, you'll know what I'm talking about
for sure.
And that's why I started wrapping my own knees, because I was like, I don't like the feel of that. There was only a few people that I wanted to wrap my knees, like you being one of them. At the time, who was here? Jordan Anderson. They were the only two people. You guys were the only two people I liked wrapping my knees. I was like, I don't want to have to ask these guys every time. So when I wrap my own knees, I can get it exactly how I want them every single time.
Yeah. For me, wrapping my own knees, like at first, I had them wrapped a couple of times early on. Like the first time I ever tried actual tight knee wraps was Scott Wasson wrapped me in like 2011. And I was like, these suck. These are way too tight, because I just wrapped like bandages in the past before that. And then I got wrapped once at GPC Worlds in 2013. It was the worst wrap I ever had, and I was like, I'll wrap my other temps, thank you. And then I tried once more a few years later, many years later. It was like 2019 here, and I tore my adductor in that session, and I just blamed it on the knee wraps, even though it wasn't even that squat that tore it. But I'm just gonna say bad juju. For me, it's a mental thing anyway. Like wrapping my knees is how I get in the zone ready to squat. If someone else wraps me, I'm too relaxed that I'm not in squat mode. And so then I'm like, oh, actually, I have to turn on. And it just feels different, even though it's exactly the same. Yeah. So I just prefer to wrap myself.
I wore it as a little bit of a badge of honor, too, that I wrap my own knees. Because there's not many people that wrap their own knees like for like a heavy squat. So it felt kind of cool. I'm like, sweet, I don't have to rely on anybody for this. There's no other external factors that come into this. Like some people walk in the gym, fuck, I can't squat today. Yeah. Thomas isn't here to wrap my knees. James isn't here to wrap my knees. But like with me, it's like, sweet, let's go. Yeah. I can go whenever.
Yuri wraps his own knees.
That's actually one of the
I
reasons.
knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. And so I used to try wrap like him too. So I'd put the strap there
Yeah.
and then I'd pull it under, but then I couldn't undo it. So that's why I started doing it where we tie it off.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah, no. I don't know. I much prefer to wrap my own knees, and this, similar to you, I don't like to rely on anyone else, but more so for performance. Like if I fail, I don't want to be like, oh, I wonder if it was because the knee wrap wasn't as good as I do it myself. So I'd rather just blame myself.
No what ifs.
That's right. I will say one more thing on knee wraps before we move on to the other topic or the next topic. There's also a lot of bro science about like stretch reflex and squat faster when you're in knee wraps to get more bounce out of them. All of that is bro science as well. If you're really interested, Google a physical principle called Hooke's Law that talks about elasticity. Basically, the speed at which you pull the elastic tension out of something doesn't dictate how far it recoils. It's nothing to do with how fast it moves. It's about the distance. So how much it stretches determines how well it will recoil back to its original shape. So it doesn't matter if you squat fast or slow, the wrap will do the same thing. And squatting fast on purpose with, sacrificing tightness and position is probably just going to mess you up anyway. So don't buy into the bro science. Knee wraps are really simple. They stretch, they go back to where they were. That's it.
Just another thing, just for people always asking what knee wraps do we use, you'll see a really common knee wrap that's pretty popular amongst lots of Zero lifters, the red and black ones. They're the Pioneer Lilley bridges. Mm-hmm. So heaps of people ask, that's the most popular one. Are they better than other wraps? Don't know. Probably not. It's all personal preference. But that's the one that everyone uses.
Yeah.
For the majority.
I grew up wearing Titan THPs, which are really stiff and like cardboardy. And then a really versatile wrap that most people end up using at the start is an Inza INZ. They've got a really like broad spectrum. They can be wrapped really loose or really tight. The Lilley bridges kind of fall in between that. They've got some of the comfort qualities of softer wrap, but they've definitely got the aggressiveness of a stiffer wrap. So for me, they kind of fall in the middle. And I personally, out of my experience using all different types of wraps, not just those 2 or 3 that I mentioned, for me, they've been the best performing wrap, both as a coach and as a lifter. But I mean, again, it doesn't matter that much as long as you're happy with the performance that you get out of whatever knee wrap you choose.
What are the wraps that Ryan Anderson uses?
He uses the THPs.
He uses the THPs, yeah.
And you notice it because I wrap Ryan's knees and so do you. And your fingers, like, it's literally like wrapping with cardboard.
Yeah.
Your fingers just get destroyed after using them.
That's right, yeah. THPs, golds are similar. They've got a nice stretch to them, but they are a little bit on the stiffer side as well.
It's funny. I've been wrapping Grant McVeigh every Friday, one of Jordan Hallier's clients. Shout out Jordan. And he has the grippers. So they got a little...
yeah.
And I kept telling him, I was like, why do you have these wraps? So I made a point of whenever I wrap his knees, I'd like pull them a little bit so they'd rip his leg hairs out. So he started shaving just here, just on his knee, so it wouldn't rip his hairs out. It was pretty funny. But now he wears Lilley bridges. Because
even when you shave, they're still real pinchy.
Yeah. No, they're horrible. Well, I don't know if they're horrible. I haven't worn them, but yeah.
Nice. Let's go around here. What are some things that we knew we wish we knew when we started training?
Things I knew.
Wish you knew.
Things I wish I knew when I started training. I didn't know anything when I started training. So what I did when I first started training, because we'd have to train for rugby or rugby league or whatever, and all I did was power cleans. So I'd do a power clean, and then I'd do a 1 rep max squat, 1 rep max bench, and finish on some bicep curls. And it's all I did every session. And then I'd so obviously I had no idea about programming, and back then there wasn't a lot of easily accessible information like there is now on the internet. Like, when we were younger, we had the T Nation, bodybuilding.com, and like all those forums are good, but there was nothing about like sports performance or anything. So I was like, fuck, all right, I'm going to do Arnold's 6-day split.
Yeah.
Trying to get better at rugby or rugby league. And things I wish I knew about programming. I wish I knew actually how to get stronger instead of just doing the same thing every day. I'd go and max out. I'd finish with some bicep curls. And then Oh, I've got to actually story. I was telling Bridget, like, one thing I did when I first started training that I wore as a badge of honor was like having a protein shake after my sessions.
Nice.
So like I made a big deal of it that, you know, I'd walk around with a shaker and it'd take me so long to drink just because I wanted people to see me drinking protein. Like it was like a sign, oh, he must go to the gym. Like I was like, 17 or 18 and it'd take me like an hour to drink this. I'd walk through the supermarket, sipping it, just shaking it constantly. Yeah, just wanting to let everyone know, I've just been in the gym. I work out, even though I don't look like it.
Oh, that's so funny because I was the complete opposite. So like I'd gotten into training at the end of high school, like more seriously, and then I went straight into uni. And at uni, I was so self-conscious about it. Like I never wanted to be looked at as a gym guy. Because I just thought if people saw me as a gym guy, they'd think I was stupid or something like that. Like they'd think I was a male bimbo or I don't know. So I had this real complex about protein shakers. Everything else was fine, but protein shakers I had this real complex about. And if I ever got caught out and like needed food or, you know, I was leaving home in a hurry and I'm like, fuck, I don't have time to cook something or prepare something, I'd take a protein shake. But I'd fill it up in the bathroom and then go in like a toilet stall and scull it in there because I didn't want anyone to see me carrying around a shaker. I didn't want anyone to think that I was a gym guy.
Yeah.
I was happy to walk around with like a cooked chicken breast and eat it like a banana, but I wouldn't walk around with a protein shaker.
Oh, that's
Cooked
good.
chicken breast.
Yeah.
I remember we were chatting about this, James, like how like that's sort of like the stigma, like when you start training at the gym, you buy a bag of protein and even if you don't count, you know, your calories or macros or whatever, you just do it because it's like it's part of the lifestyle now.
Yeah, it just goes hand in hand.
The amount of people I have this conversation with are like, "Oh, I just signed up at a gym. Do you think I need to have get protein?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Do you eat it? I don't know what you eat. Like it's more. They just think it's part of the. And people are shocked that I don't drink it. I used to, like when I first started training, I used to have protein, but now I don't. I just know I eat."
Yeah,
a lot.
All right, then. For everyone, what was your first protein purchase?
Oh, my first protein.
International protein.
Flavor?
It was the pea protein. It was disgusting.
Yuck.
It was
What?
so
Why?
gross because my trainer recommended it to me. I think he was like sponsored by them or something. And so I thought that all protein powder just tasted like shit. And I hated it for a long time.
It kind of does, to be honest.
Yeah.
But definitely whey protein
the
tastes better than
international
pea protein.
Pea protein.
Mine was
so bad.
Mine was Musashi.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, that's what all the rugby players and
Really?
because they promoted like clean sports, and you know when you're young you're like, yeah, this is what they take, I'm having that.
So I'm with James. My first protein that I had was Musashi Ice. My brother told me to get it, but I didn't buy it. My dad bought it for me. So the first protein that I bought as an independent male was from the supplement den in Springwood, and I got I was heavily involved on the bodybuilding.com forums and bodybuilding.com in general, and ON was the gold standard.
Yeah.
So I got ON gold standard Rocky Road flavor.
Whoa.
And the salesman's like, this is the worst flavor, don't buy it. And I was like, I have to try it. It sounds so good. And I liked it. I like ultra sweet stuff.
Damn.
This is a little bit of a flex, but this is how I got onto Musashi. So I was at Sonny Bill Williams' house. You guys know Sonny Bill Williams?
Yes.
NRL player, All Black.
No.
One of the like
Very
biggest.
successful.
I'm just saying this to make you feel worse. I know who he is. It's just
I was about to say, our listeners probably don't actually know who he is either.
Nah, of course, everyone knows Sonny Bill Williams is.
So I was at his house and he's fucking jacked out of his brain. And I was like, fuck, I want to look like this guy. And I just remember seeing a huge tub of Musashi. And I'm like, I'm buying that.
That's the key.
I'm buying that. And I remember, little things that he did, I remember I did too. So he always ate like salmon nigiri.
Yeah.
So I was like, salmon nigiri it is. Don't even like this.
Oh, that's the,
Salmon
Don't even
nigiri,
like this.
Musashi protein.
Don't even like
That's what I'm doing.
it's funny
Oh,
because
man.
like there was this guy at my commercial gym, and he was like stocky as. It's the first time I've seen lats on a human. I remember walking into the change rooms, and he had his shirt on, and he was like reaching for his bag, and like there's this thing popping out the side. I'm like, whoa, I want that. And he had these massive forearms, and he used to do like standing dumbbell forearm curls, and I'd wait till he would leave, and then I'd do them straight up. I'm like, I gotta look like this. But isn't it funny how that attitude like permeates even once we know stuff? So like, you know, how many times have we all looked at BK eating a meal and been like, if BK eats that, I'm gonna eat that. If Gerard eats that, I'm gonna eat that.
This is me and Thomas in 2021.
2022.
There was one day we saw BK eating kangaroo sandwiches.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I'm doing that. And I'm pretty sure I did it the next day. And
Yeah.
Thomas walked in and goes, bro, just because he saw BK doing it doesn't mean you should do it too. And then he pulled out his kangaroo sandwiches as well.
Yeah. I remember when Gerard started eating heaps of sauerkraut, and I was in the supermarket one day, and I'm like, maybe that's the key.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's missing.
Yeah. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of Brian Shaw. I was like, where can I buy bison?
Yeah.
You can't get it in Australia, but I was like, I need to get bison.
Oh, kangaroo's pretty much
Yeah,
bison.
pretty much.
What was your first tub of protein, or have you had one?
Yes. This is when I wasn't even lifting weights. I was at a boxing gym, and I was still in school. Mum was taking me to boxing, and I just saw like every time after training, everyone just like, you hear that distinct shaker noise, like, and everyone's got it, and you're like, oh, and I'm just there with my water bottle, like, I want in on this. So yeah, the guy that ran the gym, he was like, oh, UK, yeah, you need some protein, and pretty much just upsold us on it. I'm pretty sure it was international protein, and yeah, I always know for me, chocolate's just a safe bet, so I always get it. And then after that, it was gold standard.
That's the goods.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember your first pre-workout that you bought?
Yes. So this is well, I'll go next then. So things I wish I knew.
Mm-hmm.
I've got heaps of these, but the first thing that came to mind was supplements. And again, like I was big on the bodybuilding.com forums, and back then a moderator straight flexed was Lane Norton, and he was like going through his he was documenting his journey to getting a pro card, and he was like writing heaps of articles, and I tried to write articles and they got rejected because they were terrible. And I remember emailing him and being like, hey, I'm a young aspiring bodybuilder. What supplements should I take? And he replied back and he's like, ignore all the noise. The only things you need to go for, maybe a whey protein, but get some creatine monohydrate. That's it. Ignore all the marketing and everything like that. I'm like, I'm going to listen to Lane. 2 months later, I've got like the BSN full stack. I've got my ON. Like I had, so the pre-workout, the stack that I used to take. So I'd wake up. So I used to go to the gym before school, and then I'd have a driving lesson, and then I'd go to school. This is like when I was taking supplements. So I'd wake up, I'd have NO Explode, which is like the original pre-workout from BSN. Then I'd have Nitrix, which was like
That's for the pump?
the pump. Yeah, it was like a pump tablet, and they were huge, and you had to take like 9 of them. So it took like 9 of these Nitrix pump tablets. Then during the workout, I'd have Scivation Extend and Concrete, which was like a creatine formula. And then I'd come home and I'd have protein and cell mass, which was like a micronized creatine by BSN. So combining all of that, between like 5 a.m. and 6:30 a.m., I'd drink like 4 liters of fluid. Then I'd get in an hour driving lesson and make the guy stop like every 15 minutes busting to go to the toilet. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way than this. I'm like, just combine them all. so I'd have the pre-workout, and then I'd have a really like ultra concentrated drink during my workout, which was disgusting. And then I'd combine like Rocky Road protein with like fruity berry cell mass in the same shit. It was disgusting. It was so bad. I loved it. I need to go back to that. Because you'd drink it and you'd be like, I'm doing my body so many favors. I can feel myself growing.
I'm so glad I've got those branched chain amino acids in you right now.
Exactly. All right, Bridget, things you wish you knew.
I just wish that someone told me that wearing lifting gloves for your entire workout, including walking to the gym and leaving the gym, it doesn't make you look cool. It was like the same thing with James. You know, his thing was a protein shaker. Mine was the lifting gloves. I'm like, everybody needs to know I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Thought I looked like a total badass.
It's like I said the other week, I used to wear the Dewins to the gym.
Yes.
That's sick.
Driving them.
Yeah.
How good.
What about you, CJ? Things you wish you knew.
Oh gosh, so many. Actually, on that the pre-workout thing. So my first exposure to pre was I was doing boxing, and I was in school, and I had to do like an all-nighter for an assignment or something like that. So I was so tired. I hadn't pretty much slept the night before, and we come into boxing training, and it's like, oh, today's sparring, right? So in any other sport, like for example powerlifting, if you haven't slept and whatnot, you might miss your lift, right? But in boxing, if you're not on, it meant you got your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
So you have to be on, otherwise you got beaten. So I was like freaking out because we were sparring. There's heaps of big boys in this rotation, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, just take this. This is what I'm taking right now. And look at me." And his hand's like that, shaking. And I'm like, "Is that good?" And he's like, "No, I'd like take it." And I was like falling asleep standing up. Like I was so tired. So I take a scoop, and this is my first ever like exposure to pre-workout. I don't even know what it was. I just took the guy's word for it and gave me a scoop, and I was wired. I was like, it was like I had 8 hours the night before, and I thought this can't be good to take regularly, because this guy was like, "Oh, I take it before every session." I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I never took pre after that until my most recent prep, and you got me onto that disorder stuff, which was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then now we're both on the non-stim pre train.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we've all gone the other way around.
Yeah,
We're stimmed out.
Yeah, stimmed out. No more caffeine.
Do you remember what that first one was? Or have
No.
idea.
No, I
Did
have
it
no
have
idea.
Did it have beta alanine? Like, did you get the tingles?
Yeah. I've never felt this before. I was like, cannot be dependent on this stuff. This is wild.
Oh man.
Can you remember your first pre-workout?
Yeah, mine was.
The Inno Explode.
Yeah.
There's like my first one was like was what got me back into the gym properly. Have I told you guys the story?
No.
So for our listeners, what happened was so at the time I think I was 20, and my partner at that time when I was 20 years old, she was real into the gym, and she's like, "You need to try to get back into the gym." I was like, "Yeah, sweet." So I went and bought a pre-workout. I bought Mesomorph.
Oh, Mesomorph.
Yeah, and I took it, and I just lit my fucking world on fire. And I remember I trained for 4.5 hours. My first session back, and my partner at the time, she was like, "I'm about to go," and I was like, "Can you pick me up in like 2 hours? I'm on a roll here," and I trained my whole body on this Mesomorph.
I'm on a roll here.
And I had to call in sick the next day to work because I was so exhausted. Yeah, I couldn't move. And after that, I was like, all I want to do is train, just because I wanted to keep chasing that feeling that the Mesomorph gave me that first session. And that was when I was hooked. That was the start of my bodybuilding journey. Like from that day, I was like, yeah, 6 months time, I'm going to have peaking biceps. I reckon if I do, and that was when I was going full blown like Kai Green. All I was watching was like Kai Green videos and. Yeah, I did the Jefferson deadlift once because I saw a video of him doing it. And I was like, that felt like shit, never doing that again. But yeah, Mesomorph ignited my like passion for, I guess you could say, bodybuilding and strength training.
Did you guys ever have the band Jack 3D?
Nah, I never actually got to have that.
I've heard about it so many times.
So I used to take it, and then it got banned, and my friend managed a supplement store, and he's like, "We can't sell this, but I can sell it to you under the table for X amount of dollars per tub." And me being a recent, having a recent foray into my business journey, opening a gym, I was like, yeah, I'll buy it all. So I bought like 15 tubs of this stuff under the table, marked it up ×3, and then sold it at the gym.
Marked it up.
Yeah.
On the hustle.
Bro, I'm on the hustle since high school.
Since a young blood.
When the dollar was dollar for dollar with USA, I used to buy heaps of subs from America and then sell them at school.
That's good.
Yeah, it was sick.
Smart.
Because here it was like $120 for nitrix, or like even more for a bag of ON. You could buy it from there for like $40 or $50. I was like, yeah, stock up.
Speaking of hustles, can you remember those Live Strong bracelets?
Or
No. Power Balance.
Power balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
bought one of those.
Oh, you did not.
I did.
So,
Look, push me.
bro.
Push me. I'm still standing.
Yeah. So that was my hustle. Because they were $100 in New Zealand.
Damn.
And I found some on eBay for
$100.
Yeah, so I found them on eBay for $2. So I just bought a whole bunch, and I was selling them for like $40 at school. I had the hustle down pat. though.
Everyone
I'd be like,
wore
all right,
one, yeah.
stand on one leg, stick your arm out,
See,
see how you fell over. Now do it. Put this on and do it again.
And you barely touch it. See? So
no.
much sold.
It's a test retest. You know what to expect the second time.
Yeah,
Because I called out my gym owner on this. He did it to me, and I was like, "Wait a second." We just waited for the
Wait a
next.
second.
Yeah, we waited for the next person to walk in, and I'm like, I did it to them, but with a pen instead of the power balance thing. I'm like, it's just
With
like,
a pen.
Oh,
Oh.
But they were cool because lots of rugby players were wearing them at the time too.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like,
NFL
yeah.
players, NBA players. Yeah.
I did the double up. I had one on each wrist.
Ooh.
oh, you were
Non-
extra balanced.
Yeah.
Try touch your toes. Now do it again.
Unreal. What else? What
else?
other things we wish we knew?
Classic one was just chalking my shins.
Yeah.
So any gym that had chalk, I was like, yes, just like on TV. Yeah. Just like chalking all up and down my legs. Nah.
And not to clap the chalk.
Yeah.
Not to oh yeah. You got to. You got to clap it.
Everyone's done that though.
Everyone still does it.
I still do it. Yeah, I still
do you, CJ?
Yeah.
You know, with a vacuum as brother.
Is that why you keep dropping your deadlifts?
Because I don't chalk my finger like you taught me to.
That's right.
That's
right.
the key.
The back of the finger's the secret.
Yeah, that's a secret.
I've never seen you use chalk, Thomas.
I use chalk.
Barely
Yeah, I
any
have.
though, eh?
What?
Yeah.
His hands are like pure white.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
No, but I only use chalk above 270.
Right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Most of the time I don't use it.
Oh, okay.
And that's more because I don't like it. Like I don't like touching myself and then getting dirty. So I don't use talcum powder. It makes a mess.
Do you not even use it on your top sets?
No, I use it at comp and that's it. I haven't used talcum powder in the gym since like 2015.
Yeah, I've never seen you use
Yeah,
talc.
shit.
Actually, there's my next things I wish I knew. I wish I knew how much money I could save if I didn't hang out with Idan Mata and Kevin Huang back in the day. Those guys were the worst influences of all time.
What did
Not
they do?
only with stimulants, so it became a thing. We'd have a monster pre-training because I'd just gotten like monsters at the gym. And then we went through this phase where we'd put pre-workout in the monster and then 2 scoops of pre-workout in the monsters. So we were
Jeez.
wired off our heads. And then every night all of us would have dinner prepared and we'd be standing there and be like, oh, should we go to Guzman? And for weeks, like months on end, we'd go out like 3 or 4 times a week.
That's what because I'm the same. When I hang out with Eden, it's like, beauty, going to spend $100 on food today.
Yeah,
We're going to eat at 3 different restaurants.
that's right. And order 6 meals at each one.
Yeah.
I had never, so I routinely order more than one main when I go out now. And I'd never done that in my life before I met you done. I must admit, it's a really good way to live.
Options.
Highly
Sounds
recommend.
amazing.
Do you know, back to the, like, what we knew, but this is so when I got back into the gym, this is what I bought. So I bought the protein. So I got protein, I had the mesomorph. I bought wrist wraps, just like classic, what's it called? You know, like the soft, stretchy ones that are at supplement stores.
Yep.
And then I bought the Beats by Dre headphones, the ones that wrap over like this, because that's what all the big dogs are wearing. So that was like my stack, my thing that I did when I got into the gym. Do you guys have anything that you bought specifically?
Besides the gloves, I don't know.
I've always been a bit of like a light on equipment kind of guy.
Mm.
Yeah.
I always wanted an animal t-shirt as well. And I still want one.
I've got one there signed.
Yeah, can't wear that one.
What was your stack again? Say it.
So I got the wrist wraps.
Yeah,
I was
wrist
like,
wraps.
Sweet, I'm a gym guy now. I'm a
Right.
bodybuilder. I got the wrist wraps. I had the protein. I had the mesomorph. And I had the Beats by Dre headphones.
Oosh.
Like the
Okay.
big wraparounds like this.
Right. No, I was never into that scene, like the gym scene. I didn't.
Oh, neither.
Well, I didn't see the like. I didn't
I'm
even
still
train.
not.
Still not. Still. But like, yeah, I guess with boxing, it was always like a badge of honor to carry your gloves instead of having them in the bag. So I always did that. I always carried my gloves on the outside and
Nice.
still do that now. Yeah, hand wraps around your neck.
The real deal.
Muay Thai shorts. Didn't do Muay Thai, I boxed. Yeah, I think, I always taped under my patella on my leg just because that's just what I saw
Swag.
fighters do. Yeah.
Nice.
Not because I had knee issues or anything like that. I was a sucker for like compression stuff.
Yeah.
I like wearing skins and yeah, even like playing basketball. As a kid, I wanted to wear a shooting sleeve. Like I was that.
I think that's the Filipino in you though. Because
Yeah.
every Filipino basketball player has got all the gear and no idea.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
I get embarrassed sometimes when I bring my white mates to our Filipino scrimmages because I'm like, fuck.
Everyone's in scuba gear, like fully covered.
They got all the gear and then my mate's like, oh, none of them can play. And I'm like, yeah, I know. We all suck. We just love it.
Yeah, and splash out on sneakers. Yeah.
So you know how everyone films their workouts now? And now it's not uncommon to have like a good SLR filming a workout. Like you can do that and no one looks at you funny. Can you imagine the looks? When I was logging my workouts in 2010, walking with a fucking handy cam and a tripod, like a handy cam and a tripod, when no one filmed anything in the gym because you didn't have smartphones. So it's just like, why has this guy got a camera while he's doing squats? Why is he doing squats? Like, it was so.
Why is he doing squats?
It's not a thing I wish I knew. It was just something I thought of.
Bro, even in like 2015, it was still weird to film yourself in the gym.
To be honest, at a lot of gyms, that culture is like that now, especially commercial gyms. Like,
No, because people just put their phones anywhere and start filming. But back then, it was real weird. I remember I really wanted to film myself deadlifting. So I went to the gym at a real random time when no one would be there, so I could set my camera up. And then there was someone there, so I couldn't do it. And I was like, fuck. And I was too embarrassed. There was literally one other person in the gym.
Yeah.
And now people just fucking, people take they take selfies, they do whatever now. It's like, it's just the norm now.
Yeah.
Crazy. I wish I knew how dumb I looked getting psyched up. I wish it didn't take me 5 years to work out that sniffing pneumonia and slapping myself and screaming did nothing for my lifting and just made me look like an idiot. No hate on people who do that. If it helps you, power to you. But it never helped me. I just did it because I thought I had to.
Can you please send us that video again of you
No,
screaming?
never.
Before you
That's
do
what
a
it,
squat?
CJ, I want you to make a snippet of this whole thing, of this conversation just here, and overlay it with that video of Thomas getting psyched up.
That's only one. I've got a lot of those videos.
They're the best.
No.
I've never seen you that fucking loud or anything.
No, never again.
Yeah. I get pretty psyched before lifts, but comp, I go very quiet until, after the lift.
Yeah.
If it's successful. But yeah.
All right, cover your children's ears when CJ's lifting.
Your children's ears. Yeah. No.
I don't think I get really, I don't know. The last comp, Thomas, you handled me at my last comp in 2019. And I think I had a shit meet straight away. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to have fun. And I just didn't really care anymore. So I was getting like fake hyped up just to make people laugh. But yeah, I don't know. Now I look back at me getting hyped up. I'm like, why did I do that? That looks so stupid. I'm so gutted.
Oh, dear.
I don't know. I'm the opposite. Not that I don't look back at myself and go, yeah, that looks awesome that I got hyped up. But I love seeing other people get in the zone.
Yeah.
I love other people's like quirks that they do. Like even like you, Thomas, you don't carry on like those videos, but you still have those like moments where you're chalking your hands and you kind of look around the room and we make eye contact and you just nod. I was like, oh, he's on. Like, I like that.
But sometimes I watch people and I'm like, you're doing too much. This is going on for way too long. You've been getting hyped up for about 30 minutes.
If it takes that long, like,
Shut up, don't talk to me, I'm getting in the zone. I'm like, bro, you're about to squat in 10 minutes. That's why
it's cold.
I like Jordan Castles. He's the best. He talks shit right up until he gets under the bar. He couldn't care less about anything. We're having the most random conversation and we're like, you'll be still wrapping his knees and he'll put his wrist up. Someone's still talking shit. Stop and talk a little bit more shit and then gets under the bar and then gets in the zone.
Yeah.
Scotty too hotty as well. He'll keep talking. He'll be under the bar and then he'll stop and then he'll turn back around and keep talking.
He's the worst. He tries to have a convo with you. Like, I don't know. Like, bro, can you unrack it?
There's nothing. I don't mind hype, and I don't like people do what they need to do to perform and everything. I hate when it's like an obviously planned celebration.
Yeah.
You know, when like someone's put more effort into what they're going to do after the lift than just being than just lifting and being humble about it.
Yeah.
Calm down. Like you're not the first person to lift this weight.
Another grievance.
It's not an NBD.
We're literally lifting metal circles attached to other pieces of metal for fun.
Yeah, that's hectic.
Nah, I shouldn't. I'm not trying to hate. Like it's fine. Do what you need to do, but like, don't put more effort into planning your celebration than to lifting.
Yeah, it kind of ruins the lift too. I'm just like, come on, man. You didn't need to do all that after the lift.
Yeah.
I was impressed when you locked it out.
When it's very rehearsed.
Yeah. And you know it's purely for the gram as well.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, they're keeping that in the video. They're not editing that.
That's right. That's right. That was sick.
Sweet.
I think that's us.
Any final things you wish you knew?
Nah. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 10 plus years deep in training and I'm still learning.
Absolutely. All right. Give us 5 stars. Keep watching. We love it. Let us know what you want to hear about and who you want us to talk to, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Thank you so much for listening to the Zero podcast. If you want more information, head to our Instagram, Zero_weakness. Hit the link in the bio for all of our services and any information on upcoming workshops and events. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review so we can have a broader reach and answer more people's questions. Thank you once more.